Welcome to Indy's Real Estate Gurus. I'm Rick Ripma, your hardworking mortgage guy, and I've been in real estate and mortgages for over 34 years. I've helped over 5,200 folks finance their homes. My team and I believe in custom tailored loans, not the one-size-fits-all approach. We believe there is a right mortgage for you, and we believe we are the team to deliver it.
And I'm Ian Arnold, part of Rick's hardworking mortgage team. I've been in the financial industry for 15 years, helped customers rebuild their credit to get the best possible interest rate, and I have a passion in helping you secure your overall real estate dreams.
And if you have any questions on Indy's real estate market or the mortgage market, please go to hardworkingmortgageguys.com. That's hardworkingmortgageguys.com. Or you can call 317-672-1938. That's 317-672-1938. And today, Ian.
Yes, I'm here.
We have a great guest. Drove all the way up from the south side of Indianapolis.
That is a little bit of a drive.
Franklin. It's a long drive.
Yeah, especially on 465. Where you got to go 70 to be on the speed limit.
That makes it quicker.
The dirty South.
The dirty. Thanks for joining us so much.
Thank you for having me.
The positive is...
Who am I?
Let's say his name.
Oh,
goodness, no.
Hey, no.
Well, how'd you forget that?
I didn't forget. You skipped over me.
Well, go ahead.
Goodness. All right, but it's Josh Latham
right.
from Remax, right?
That's right.
Awesome.
Remax Advanced.
And from the and you spent some time in Carmel. But now you're down in beautiful green. Well, actually, Franklin, right?
Greenwood, Franklin Township area.
Yeah.
Was in Carmel for about 4 or 5 years. They kicked me out, so found a place down on the south side where people talk my language and
that's good.
looked a little bit more like me.
Yeah, thin and
no,
full of hair. See, I'm kind of you could tell I was from Carmel because I have no hair. Is that what it is?
Well. Gray or bald? I'll take gray. So
I'll take either.
Yeah.
I don't know what are you gonna do.
You're walking.
yeah, that's right. Have no choice. So, what did you before real estate? What was your life like? What did you do? Where'd you grow up?
Yeah.
Those type of things.
So I grew up in Shaker Heights, Ohio, which is a eastern suburb of Cleveland, much like Carmel. I'd say great schools, whatnot. I eventually ended up down in the Evansville, Indiana, Henderson, Kentucky area. So I actually finished out my high school career down in Henderson. But that kind of led me up to Indianapolis through some work projects. But at the age of 12 and 13, I started to work for my uncle. There's a backstory to this. And he owned a construction company. So during the summers and during, high school and college, I would work for him doing kitchen remodels, home additions, horrific jobs like digging footers, and it was such terrible work. But I kind of carried that throughout my career, and I became a commercial insurance broker. Lived in Chicago for a little while, worked downtown, and I had a suit, and then I realized I was one of 7 million people doing the same thing, and I was like, this is terrible, terrible. So I moved back down to Indianapolis area, and had a short stint outside of insurance with mortgages. So I was an LO for about 2.5 years. And then started to help some of my client agents build out inspection responses because I knew about houses and how to build them. And I'm like, I'd sit across the table from somebody and they're thumbing their way through, how would I do this and how would I do that? And I just kind of hit me and just, man, if this person can do this, surely to God I can do this. I didn't cut it as an LO. The great thing about being an LO is you really got to cut your teeth on the finances part of it. So I had the contract law from insurance, which is great. Really helped me through contract negotiations and understanding, the verbiage and whatnot. And then having been an LO, and I'm kind of a math guy too, I really got a strong foothold of what it takes to, finance a house and some of the pitfalls and what to look for. And it's just snowballed. And that's where I am today.
So did you start with Remax? And if so, how did you even get there?
Yeah. So I actually started out with Keller Williams because when I was at LO, most of my clientele were out of an office on the west side of town. So I started out with their program, did that for about a year, and then moved to Carmel and ran into a really nice agent over there. And I joined his team with Berkshire Hathaway. And I was with Berkshire for a couple of years, and then Remax Advanced came knocking on my door. And they told me something about leads. I was like, what's a lead? You guys get leads in real estate? Where do I sign up? And they're like, we have all the leads you can get. And I'm, no way. So I've been there just over, 6 years with Remax Advanced, and I love it. I love it.
So, sorry. So, what do you think separates Remax from the other places?
Remax, the brand in particular, I think is just global. It's so big. It's funny. I have a sister that lives in Austria, and she'll send me pictures every once in a while of a Remax banner that she sees over there. My parents travel the country; they're retired, or travel the world. They're retired, and they'll send me pictures of Remax stuff everywhere. And going out of the country myself, I'll see it, and it's just so recognizable. And then sitting down with people and listening presentations, it's inevitable. Probably every 2 out of 10 people I talk to, my grandparents bought a house through a Remax agent, and so it's so widely known. It's easy to remember. People always ask me, what does Remax mean? The balloon. So I have a lot of clout going in right away as far as Remax Advanced, because there are different Remaxes, obviously. It's leadership for me. I wouldn't be where I am today without our leader, our broker owner, and that's why I'm there.
How important would you say that is? We think it's really important to have mentors and have a tremendous leader. So if somebody's out there looking, maybe they're in an office, don't feel like they're getting the leadership, or maybe they're new. Is it how important is it to them, and why your office if you were interested in growing?
Yeah, and that's a good question. Actually, I just met today with our head of recruiting. I do some quasi second tier recruiting along with her. She kind of finds the individuals, and then I help kind of coach them throughout the process. And I'm one of our mentors as well. I didn't have that when I started with Keller Williams, and I think that's why my career really didn't get off to a good start. Nothing against Keller Williams. I think it's really kind of office independent, much like there's different Remaxes. They all have different setups from ground level up. And ours is, I think, pretty robust, not only with the technology that's offered from our broker owner, but couple that with the Remax. But we have mentorship programs that sees you through the first 5 deals, one of which has to be a listing. The other 4 can be buy side. And we kind of have a footprint, a map of what's set out for each individual to follow. And we don't just take brand new agents either. We take seasoned agents that just want to kind of, and that's what I was. I'd been in the business for, I don't know, 2.5 years. I couldn't say I was seasoned, but I'd been in the business long enough. But getting on board of the programs that we have in place has really just propelled me. And one of the reasons was a mentor.
Yeah, I think that helps immensely, and also to have that process.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say nobody wants to. Some people do want to reinvent the wheel, but I don't find that the best way. I find the best way is to find the wheel that's already made. After you figure that out and you use it and it's working, then you can kind of change it a little bit to your own self.
Mold that clay yourself. When I was an LO, it was a friend of mine who worked for a brokerage, and he literally said the first 2 months of your life are you going to be sitting on the lounge couch in my office just listening to me. And I remember at the time going, this is ridiculous. I mean, I'd been in sales since 19. You couldn't teach me anything about sales, and it wasn't about that. It was about the processes and the product. And I'll tell you what, it was invaluable to me to sit there and just listen to that guy. So one of the things that I strive for when I'm mentoring is you're going to be live on my hip. Let's go. You're going to go through my day and follow me through, the whole process. It's been great for me and hopefully for our agents. So.
Well, how do you mentor somebody? So if you had a new person that was starting and you were mentoring them, what are some of the things you have them do, or how do you guide them?
Yeah. So it's kind of tricky in that it's really going to be based on their experience level. I'll take an example. Right now, I'm mentoring a younger guy just out of college, never been in sales. He was actually like an assistant coach in basketball. And we almost have like a 10-step program that they have to go through weekly. He reports back to me. I meet him at least once, if not twice a week. We go through our lead system, our CRM. So we have some pretty finite steps that we try to follow. but in today's day and age, it's kind of hard because a lot of agents don't have the affordability to jump into this career just like, I'm ready to go.
Right.
So some of them are kind of weaning themselves off of part-time jobs, maybe having to work at home still some with kids or whatever. So we kind of tailor our programs to fit. And let's take this agent, for example. He's kind of on a normally projected course. And then you, of course, have some that fall away. But we have others that are just – my claim to fame in my office is I mentored I think is our number 1 or number 2 seller now out of about 100 agents.
Wow.
And he's never been in sales. He came from a large distribution company as a manager. But he said, I want to do this. I've always thought about it. This is what I want to do. And I think in his first year, he sold almost 70 homes. Which
wow, that's incredible.
In our business is just, it's unheard of.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never even scratched 70 homes. It's just me. But it's just him, too. He didn't have 5 kids, so.
Well, if you get them out selling for you.
Yeah. My taxes think they do.
So, whoa. He has the motive to go out and do 70. You have 5 kids. You should have the motive.
I should have the motive. I have the means just to, with them to help me out. But, yeah, it's funny because I think that goes back to how much time can you devote and how much time are you willing to devote. And I think for me at my age, I'm almost 50. I've gotten to a comfortable balance of, hey, I want to do about 40 to 48 transactions a year because my wife and I, we also flip homes on the side. So we do that, and we travel a lot too. Kids play sports, and you just kind of wean yourself off of, hey, I have to have 15 active transactions going at all times. I think 10 or 11 is about that max where you're like, holy crap, I need like assistance. But that's one of the things that RE/MAX Advanced does for me. They afford me a full-time marketing team. I have a transaction coordinator. Like they pick up the little pieces that me as a salesman typically wouldn't be good at. And that's kind of what we tout too when I talk recruiting is we do the behind the scenes stuff that the typical person doesn't really excel at. Yeah.
So if you guys ever go out to dinner, you make him pay since you trained him so well.
Are you kidding me?
I'm telling you.
It's funny because now he has no time for me. I had someone the other day, have you seen him lately? Like, no. Like a long lost son. I'm like, oh, the prodigal son will come home one day maybe. But yeah, he's doing real well for himself. He's really blowing up. And we love to see people like that. We're very, very team oriented. And I think that's one of the things that I really like about our team. Having been at 2 other brokerages, I'm not going to say they're divided. They're certainly not divisive. But, it's a natural habitat and tendency for realtors to kind of be like, oh, that guy's looking at my business and that guy, this is my neighborhood. Not had that in our business within RE/MAX. And that's one of the things that we strive for when we recruit people is, my broker owner plays sports. He coaches sports now with his kids. I kind of do the same thing. A lot of our agents were of some kind of team capacity, whether at work or previous lives in, high school sports. But it's rarely, if ever, I've ever come across somebody that just didn't have the time to help because they always just want to go full in, let's go, anything we can do as a team.
Yep. I mean, that's the nice thing about having so many companies that you can work for. Each personality is going to be different. What you need is based off of you. Now, somebody else's personality might be completely different, and those other companies might work great for them. Yeah. But you found the perfect place for you, so that's phenomenal.
I would not fit into I'm not going to say most of them, a lot of real estate brokerages. It just wouldn't be a good fit for me. I may bring morale down. I don't know. I have no idea. I just don't want to find out, Yeah. I've got such a sweet spot, and my business does great because of RE/MAX. My wife, she has the Roncalli crew. She has 3 sisters, 2 of which are also agents. And one of them is one of the top agents in the state for her brokerage. And her business model is completely opposite of mine, completely opposite. And I don't want her business model, and I guarantee she doesn't want my business model. We're just two totally different people. Love her brokerage, and I always said, if Remax canned me for some unknown reason, I would go to her brokerage. But I still feel like I'd probably struggle there because I would lack what I have where I'm now.
Yep. So if somebody is wanting to either buy or sell a home with you or possibly have you as a mentor, what's the best way they can reach you?
Best way, my cell phone, 317-989-7465. 317-989-7465. I always say text me. You can email me at josh.latham@indyhomepros.com as well. Look me up. I'm all on social media. You won't see much promotion of me on social media. That's one of my flaws. I just don't follow that path. Honestly, if I wasn't a realtor, I probably wouldn't even have Facebook. I go on Instagram to watch like car videos, but those would probably be the easiest ways. Even my own website. You can Google me. That's one good thing about Remax. We kind of tailor our programs to help people on the social media aspect of it. But you can Google Josh Latham Realtor. I'm right there. You can follow links. Pretty easy. So
And how do you spell Latham?
Latham.
Perfect.
Yep.
And to get a hold of Ian or I, go to hardworkingmortgageguys.com. That's hardworkingmortgageguys.com, or you can call 317-672-1938. That's 317-672-1938. And thank you for listening to Indy's Real Estate Gurus. The gurus we interview share valuable insights. They reveal their strengths, personalities, and how they'll work for you. While we hardworking mortgage guys secure your best mortgage, real estate gurus work hard too. They avoid problems the amateurs just don't see. They listen and they find unrealized opportunities. If you're buying or selling a home, a real estate guru is a valuable asset. If you're even thinking of buying or selling a home, keep listening and definitely call one of Indy's real estate gurus.
All right, so let's take a sidestep. Let's say that I take away your phone and you cannot work for 24 hours. After you get done in the fetal position crying, what do we catch you out there doing for fun?
Working on my house. I love to take up projects at home. Like I said, my wife and I, we typically have a flip going. We may take a month or two off, but I would probably be fixing something. Yesterday I went on a listing call. I'll probably be doing some work at this client's house before we list it. She just doesn't have the capability to do so. So power washing decks, painting them, doing some drywall work. We'll always have a project going on at home, but my wife and I also travel a ton. So you say that about the phone. Sunday we leave for Mexico, and I guarantee I'm leaving my phone in the bedroom and just not turning it on.
Really?
Yep.
Now, a lot of agents would love to know how you're able to do that.
So you ready? So one of my superhuman strengths or abilities, no stress and I don't worry. No.
Wow. That is a super.
You would think that with all this gray hair.
I was about to say that.
That's because of kids. So,
he has hair. Listen, I don't know what you're.
No, but it's all gray.
I don't care. He has hair.
Yeah.
Full head.
Yeah. So I don't. I think that comes from my dad. I just have this ability to not. And I think it's one of the things I relate to my clients too, is being able to get through transactions and just being that voice of reason and calm. And I don't. Those bigger things in the world for me to stress about than missing a call or, I put safeguards in place when I go on vacation, obviously, but I put it in capable hands. I'm pretty good at delegating.
Yeah,
pretty good at delegating.
Well, that's the thing. If you have somebody to give it to have take care of it, you can. And I think I'm just guessing that most people's issue is they don't feel anybody can do it as good as them.
Totally.
And so if they would just get over
the realtor curse.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I talk about as a mentor. You need to get out of your own head and think you're the only one that can do it. You really, that's, we have 8 billion people in this world. You don't think someone else can do your real estate work?
Right.
I mean, come on, man. This isn't brain surgery.
Especially when you meet people who are like the guy you mentored.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Obviously, he can do it, right?
In a heartbeat.
Right.
Yeah.
And you teach people how to do it. So you have to know people who know how to do it because you taught them.
Yeah, yeah. And, that's another good thing about anyone that's thinking about getting into real estate or even becoming an LO. I mean, you surely go on vacation.
Yeah.
And you don't want to pick up your phone. You have to be able to lean on somebody to help you out. And I think that's the beauty of being on a really good team. You have 2 or 3 really strong sidekicks, and you don't have to worry about things.
Right.
and I do at home too. My wife is my sidekick, and life becomes a lot better and easier and slower when you can just go, I can give that stuff away.
Yeah.
See, what people don't know is Rick goes on vacation 51 weeks out of the year, and he just tells
president?
me to do it all, and then I get 1 week vacation.
Oh, wait a second. I'm the hardworking mortgage guy.
No, you just say you are. No, it's fine.
So I wish I could do 51 weeks. Actually, I could never do 51 weeks
No.
vacation. There's no way.
You'd be bored to tears, wouldn't you?
Yes.
Oh, my
It's why I
gosh.
can't retire.
No. And we talk about that too. Our 11-year-old, when he gets into college, we're gonna I say flee Indiana. We'll flee Indiana. But I won't stop working. I wouldn't know what else to do.
Right. And the beauty right now is if you set up your team, if you know you're going to do that, you set up your team and you have somebody here in place, you can probably do everything not here.
Not here.
And still be booming here.
And we have, I think, 1 or 2 agents that do that. They live in Florida now, and they have a team of 2 or 3 that still live on the south side of Indianapolis, and all that business flows through them.
Yeah. I think it's really a great career because you can retire that way, but you're still working.
And you are creating a business. There's no difference.
Yes.
There's no difference between doing that and having a storefront. And
Right.
you have employees running in your storefront. You can go to Florida whenever you want.
Yeah.
And not to mention, with technology nowadays, everything's electronically signed. Everything Rick and I joke about this all the time. Is we don't see people anymore. People just do everything online, call us on the phone. Every once in a while, we get somebody comes in our office. But it's very rare. You would never know where I'm at.
Yeah, that's right. They almost look at you like you're a freak if you're like, hey, can we meet up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why would you want to do that?
Yeah. It's some people have to, but for the most part, that's not the
I
case.
agree.
Now, you kind of took my favorite question away already, but I'm going to find out. I always ask, what is your superpower or superpowers? So we know one of them. And first, and not being able to worry is a huge superpower.
Yeah.
That is huge.
Yeah.
So I'm sure people would like to know how you do that. But are there any other superpowers that you think you have that really help you in your career?
I think just creating an instant bond with most people that I deal with, and gaining trust. And it took me a long time to be able to figure out how to do that. In our business, and I know you know this, being a chameleon is one thing, but being the chameleon that they want to keep coming back to is another. And I think that my life experience, and this is something you can't really, just take the kid that I'm mentoring now. I say kid, he's 26. 26.
To us, he's a kid. Well, I'm older than you, but he's a
He's
kid.
a kid, it's hard to teach stuff that we have gone through in life experiences, and I've made so many mistakes in sales, it's not even funny. And that's
Right.
that as a mentor, that's what I tell people is you're gonna fall flat on your face, but it's how you react that makes such a world of difference. And I think my superpower is being able to overcome these obstacles, not worry about failure again, and just keep doing it. I got an 11-year-old son that plays football, and it's every day I have these little lessons about falling down and getting back up. And I hope that I can relay that to mentees, I guess you'd say, in this business, because it's a hard business. I think being an LO is even harder, quite frankly. It is not an easy process. But once you find your footing, it's a fantastic career to be in, either side.
Yeah. I think they're both very similar, but
Yeah.
I see, because I failed as a real estate agent. I tried it when I was really young, and I didn't have anybody who really mentored me and kind of took me under their wing, and I went to the wrong place. But I was buying, what I really was doing was I was buying rental property. So I was just buying rental property, and that's what I was doing. They said, hey, you need to be a real estate agent.
Yep.
I don't think, other than to myself, I ever sold a house. But I did sell some to myself.
You were your best client.
I was. But I also was a terrible landlord. I'm way too. I think it's a curse of a salesperson, and that is we tend to see or want to see the best in everybody.
Yeah.
If you're a good it's all about relationships, right? So I'm kind of opposite of you. I see it, and it just wasn't for me. But I can see. I mean, if it's the right thing, and both of them are great careers, so it's just find the one that works best for you.
I
right?
agree. I totally agree.
I love it.
Yeah, but it's nice that when you said yes, you're gonna fail. But let's be honest, that's when you learn the most. is as soon as you make that mistake, you learn from it. Guess what? You don't ever do again.
Yeah.
That mistake.
Yeah.
Now, unless you're certain people out there in the world, but
I hope they don't keep making the same mistake. Sometimes I do. I hate to admit it.
They're from Kentucky.
You can say that. You grew.
I lived there.
Some time.
I went to the
Yeah.
University of Kentucky too. So.
Did you really?
Oh yeah. Well, I wanted to partner myself with a winning basketball program, so I went there.
I fully agree with you. There you go. So I'm a diehard Kentucky fan. So,
Oh, are you really?
Yeah.
There you go. So I was there during the heyday, and then my wife has a daughter that went to IU, and I had to go to an IU basketball game. It was like, I think my skin was peeling off my body because I walked in the, IU stadium. But beautiful
Was it
place.
the one where they beat Kentucky when they
No.
were number one?
When there was that
the game that
was
you
that
were
their
at?
national title game?
Yes,
oh,
it
no, that
was.
was just regular season.
yeah, it was regular season. Then we go on to win the title. I'll take that loss.
I don't actually know anything about sports because I don't watch them. I just knew that had happened.
That was their biggest win in 100 years.
Yeah, pretty close
I
to
don't
it.
think so because they do have how many banners? How many national champions?
Who's that? IU?
Hoosiers. Yeah.
I don't know.
I think 2 or 3. I don't quote me on
I
that. I'm
think-
not an
I
IU
think
fan.
6
So.
less than UK.
I don't know. I don't know how many either one has.
UK
I
has
know it's
8.
more than Purdue,
That's
which makes everybody in Purdue fans. I don't care.
We just pissed off the whole entire state of Indiana.
We love all of you.
I probably shouldn't say this, but when I'm not a fan of. I don't watch sports. My wife loves it. I don't watch it. She loves college basketball. I don't really care.
Yeah.
But when Colts were getting beat by the Patriots every year, I just decided I'm going to root for the Patriots.
Oh my
I'm gonna root
gosh.
for a winner.
Oh,
Well, actually,
man.
if I was sitting there with you and you were rooting for Kentucky, I would root for whoever else was
For
playing, just
whoever
for fun.
else. That's right.
But I just don't really care.
Well, the fact that you even mentioned you being slightly a fan of the Patriots is a huge issue in Central Indiana.
Yeah, I know.
We'll let it slide.
That's kind of why I did it. So if somebody wanted to get a hold of you, not about the University of Kentucky, but about
you can though.
real estate, or if they're maybe looking to get in the business,
Yeah,
what's
absolutely.
the best way?
317-989-7465. 989-7465. Look me up online, Josh Latham Realtor. Just Google me. All my pertinent information is on there, and would love to talk to you about basketball or being a realtor. So
You sound like
we're not being a realtor.
You like basketball and football.
I do, yeah.
You're
So
a
my
big
son,
sports fan.
is a huge football standout, and then so we have big aspirations for him, and so hopefully by the time he's 21, 22, I'll retire, and he can just pay my way through life, and
Yeah, I
know.
always thought one of my kids would do that, but my youngest is 30 and they haven't done it yet.
yeah. So
Good luck.
The backup plan is, he said, well, if I don't go to the pros, Dad, I'm going to play my saxophone. I'm like, well, hell, I know you're going to be living in my basement then.
Hey, at least get him through college, get him that full ride.
Right.
What happens after that, who knows? But get
That's
the college taken
That's
care
a
of.
big deal right there.
Yeah.
Full ride through college,
Oh
that's
my
a
gosh.
big deal.
It'll be our first.
That
First out of 5. I'll
Yeah.
cry tears.
That'll be your favorite then.
And to get a hold of Ian or I, it's hardworkingmortgageguys.com. That's hardworkingmortgageguys.com, or you can call 317-672-1938. That's 317-672-1938.
All right, so now we'll go to the question of the week. And the question of the week is sponsored by, Rick and I, the Hardworking Mortgage Guys, where we believe in helping you and supporting you and your realtor by sending constant updates. Nobody likes living in a black hole, so we do not allow it. If you like the black hole, we are not the company for you. All right, so here's the question for you. And since you're a car guy, I heard,
Oh, yeah.
what was your first car?
A 1985 Mazda GLC Sport hatchback. 4-speed. Totaled it.
I was about to ask, what work did you do to it?
My most fun car ever. Yeah. I got some old lady pulled out in front of me and tore it up, and then my dad went out and, without my help. Now, see, I've been a car guy since I was probably 5. I almost went to automotive design school.
Wow.
And that was a big deal. Like, I drew them, and it was a huge deal. And my dad went behind my back, and I hope he watches this video, and came back with like a 1982 Chevy Monte Carlo. I mean, it was the biggest piece of crap car I've ever owned in my life. And I'll never forget, as soon as my dad pulled up in the driveway, I said to myself, the day I can buy my own car, I'm going to buy a car anytime I want. Anytime I want. So I've kept that tradition up, and I have had – my goal was to have a car for as many years old I am. So I'm 48. I'm up to about 46 or 47 now. Not extravagant stuff. I know I've never had any really truly extravagant, items. But I just am like that and shoes. So I'd go and play sports, big sports guy, and my mom would buy me the crappiest shoes. I remember playing baseball and being in high tops with Velcro on them. And I remember looking down on the mound. I was probably about 11 or 12, and I just thought, one day I'll be able to buy any shoe I want. So now I'll buy any shoe I want. So I have a penchant for shoes and cars.
Okay, so who has more shoes, you or your wife?
It's not even in the same. I'm going to say 50 pairs of shoes.
Wow.
And I'm not even scratching the surface of what my wife has.
Wow.
It's not even close.
So when he says he's doing work, he's making walk-in closets for all these shoes.
Yeah. So I used to have a deal with myself. Hey, every time I closed, I'm going to go buy a new pair of shoes. And then after about my second or third year, I had to cut it out because I was like, I don't even want to put these shoes. So we have special areas in our attic for our shoes that my wife has, and it's ungodly. But the great thing about my wife is she's a shopper, so everything's a deal. And that is one thing that I've gleaned from my wife, because I wasn't a deal shopper. I'm an impulse buyer. So I'd see it, and I'm like, I'm buying this right now. I don't care. I've got the money, and I don't care what the ramifications are. And my wife is like, I'm going to study that, go home, re-engineer it, see if I can buy it someplace in China, build it from parts from Germany, and then I'll put it together, and there's my shoe. And that's her. So
how many shoes come up missing with all the kids?
oh my gosh, a lot. I mean, we will find just like one shoe in the house. We're like, where's the other half of this? No clue. It's like our house is a shoe abyss.
It sounds like it. It's like when you drive down the street, you see one shoe laying on the side of the road. It's like, what happened?
Probably ours.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking now. I now know who it belongs to. I now know. We went on a trip over the holiday weekend, the Memorial Day weekend, and it was a wedding, so I wore my tennis shoes, and I brought nice shoes. Yeah. My wife brought a bag of shoes.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, really?
It's astounding. We're going on vacation, and we almost half of one suitcase is just makeup and shoes. And I'm like, I could fit into a backpack.
Yeah.
So
crazy.
Oh, well.
Crazy. But cars now.
Yeah.
That's that. If you can't tell, I'm a car guy too.
Yes, I love it.
And
as soon as I walked in.
Yeah, that's kind of I love cars, and so it's interesting to me that first car you had was a great car, and I wanted to point out that you could tell he was a car guy, because most people, we say, so what was your first car? Well, it was I don't really remember the year, but I think it was a 77 Malibu. Yep. I think. He's like, well, it was this, and it had a 4-speed, and it had this. It's got this motor. That's a car guy.
I could tell you in order every car had engine type, how much it cost, and probably how many miles I had on it when I bought it and when I sold it.
So, what was the best car you had? In your
a 95 Nissan 300ZX 2-seater. Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yep. So
was that the T-top?
That was a T-top. Yep. And I specifically wanted to find one because back then they actually had a 4-seater, and I wanted the 2-seater. And one of the reasons it was my favorite was not just the ride, but growing up, one of the big inspirations I had were Nissan commercials. And they had the slickest commercial for the Z, and it was on the Autobahn, and it flashes a 911 Porsche in front of it on the Autobahn. I'm like, oh, I've got to have that car one day. So I had it, and it was the first car that I really ever tinkered with. And I remember I was going to change the intake plenum on the top, and I dropped a stainless steel clamp into the valve, the valve opening. And I had to have, I lived in Columbus, Indiana at the time. I actually had to have Cummins engineers who broke down and dissected Cummins engines when they faulted out to come over to my house to get it out without having to remove the whole head and everything. It was awesome. So I had
How'd they do it?
They took some special tool with a microscope and a camera on the end of it and snaked their way down and found it and pulled it out past the valve stem and pulled it out of the hole.
Wow.
I mean, so that, just because I spent so much time and I had friends working on it with me, I was like, I just love this car. I love it. But then, if you're like me, like I'm over a car in about 4 months. I'm like, all right, I need something else. So I have lost my ass on so many cars. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, see, I'm too cheap to lose. I keep a car for a long time.
Yeah.
But I've had some pretty good cars
Yeah.
in my mind.
That's what separates me and my dad. My dad, if you put a shoebox on wheels and a little engine and they told him it would cost $100 and it lasted 3 years, he'd buy it. But I can tell you this, I actually had to buy my first truck. So right now I'm driving a pickup truck. Never had one and never will again. I hate it. It's the worst thing on planet Earth. I hate the big clunky V8 ride, and I feel like I'm driving a semi-truck, and it's terrible. But I fit in Indiana.
Especially down in Roncalli.
Yeah, up here. Up here they're like, is he delivering food or something?
I don't, my wife drives a truck.
Oh.
She loves trucks. She's got an Avalanche, Chevy Avalanche. She loves it.
Yeah.
The second one she's had.
Maybe it's my truck. It's just, I have a GMC Sierra thing.
It's the same thing, basically.
Man.
Avalanche was a little different design, but same car.
Well, that came from a Nissan Maxima.
Oh, yeah, it's a huge change.
So I'm literally 7 inches off the ground to 2 feet off the ground,
Yeah.
and I feel like I'm riding on the moon.
Yeah, that does change when you're sitting up higher. No question.
It's not like the hyper exotic that I want to buy one day, but
Yeah. So what is your dream car that if you could buy it today, what would you go buy?
Legitimately, I want a used Nissan GTR.
Okay.
It's feasible. You could probably buy one in the
Absolutely.
60s or 70s.
Yep.
That's my feasible car. If I had limitless power, I'd buy a McLaren P1. So that's it.
That's a little more expensive.
They don't make it anymore, so you're talking $3 million.
Yeah, just a tad bit more expensive.
Yeah. So, that would be my, once I retire and get the kids in, I keep telling my wife, one day
I bet a GTR.
it'll show up.
I bet a GTR, if you bought it and didn't get rid of it in 4 months, I bet it'd be worth if you hold on to that car. That car's got some investment potential.
Agreed. It's I don't think it would lose money, quite frankly. I
don't either.
If I bought it today and sold it in a year, I probably wouldn't lose a dime on it. Now,
just
would I live to see a year from now in that thing? I don't know.
Who knows?
Well, speaking of that, so what most people don't realize is in China, the Asian culture, they drive at 18. Well, a lot of times they come over here and just get their driver's license. So I used to sell high-end cars, and I sold a GTR to an Asian kid. He wrecked it and went off the road. Not huge damage
my gosh.
within the first 2 months.
Oh.
I see him come back into the dealership, and I'm like, hey, what's up? How's the GTR? My mom said I got to get rid of it.
Oh, my gosh.
He ran off the road twice in it because it just has so much horsepower. It's 0 to 60 in 2.7 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
And he goes, yeah, I got to change it in. So he did take because now the Carfax showed 2 accidents and run off the road. And
So this is going to be really weird. You didn't sell at Tom Wood Nissan, did you?
No.
Okay. Because I bought a car in Tom Wood, and there was a GTR that said sold sitting in showroom.
Oh, wow.
And I asked whose it was, and he said a freshman college student at IU.
Yep. Well,
And
it
from
happens
China.
all the time. Like if you go up to Purdue right
crazy.
now or probably not right now because the lot's pretty empty.
Spring
but
or summer
go
break.
there during springtime. Oh, you'll see so many. I sold for coast to coast at that time.
Oh.
And yeah, there was so.
And here's my mom and dad. Here's your shitty Monte Carlo. Suck it up.
All right, so get back on the real estate part because
I
we can
figured
do
you were
this all day.
waiting. I figured you were waiting for that.
What do you think your most memorable deal was?
Oh my gosh, my most memorable deal. I probably have a couple, but I think one of the biggest ones for me was someone who had purchased a house for $90 and 5 years later was selling it for $250.
Wow.
A single mom with 2 kids. And we were walking around the house talking about repairs, and I said, how much money do you think you have to invest in the house prior to closing to where we can do some repairs? And she said, I have about $200. And I was like, total? And she goes, yeah, total. And I said, this is going to be life-changing for you, don't you? And she goes, well, I guess. I've really never thought about it. So right then and there, I pulled out my calculator on my phone and started going through this stuff. And I said, after you pay your mortgage and, your commissions and all that stuff, you're going to be walking out there with like 145 grand and just waterworks. So it wasn't just the scope of having to do the sale. It's just the reaction to get out of something. But I didn't do anything other than sell the house. It's just somebody who just doesn't even know what their own value is with their property and how life-changing it can be. It's awesome for me to see. I think that's the biggest thing. And I tell my clients this: one deal is not going to break me, and it sure as hell isn't going to make me. Like, right. I'd have to sell like a $10 million property where I get, a couple $100,000 in commission. But I've never had a deal make me or break me, and I tell people that. But what I really get excitement out of is being able to see these people make these shifts in a timely, easy fashion and make money or get the house they want. It's fun.
Yeah. I mean, we do a lot of first-time home buyers, and especially the first ones that you actually see.
Yeah, they're hard.
Yes. Especially right now.
Yeah.
But the first ones, especially in their family, you get to see that emotions. But like you said, most people don't realize what they're doing until, like, let's say 5-10 years down the road, they go to sell it and they're like, wait, I have this much. Man. I can now buy this, or I can do this. I have this. It's crazy.
It's really awesome. Another one actually I'm in the midst of right now. They have 2 kids, and one kid has cancer, and she has terminal blindness. She's 5 or 6, and she's 90% blind and will be fully. And they really don't have 2 nickels to rub together, and they are selling and moving into another house. And they're going to probably recoup, 30, 40 grand, and they're going to use that money to take their kid on vacation before she loses her sight.
Yeah.
I mean, it's stuff like that where you just go, I don't care what I make on this deal. It's just awesome to be just a part of this.
Right.
And it's amazing to me how people are so overly thankful for your efforts. And I'm just like, hell, I'm just doing my job. Like, I didn't really do anything but follow the guidelines of how I got here in life anyway. But it's fun to be, that's probably the most rewarding thing for me in any deal is 2 things. One, seeing these people make transitions in life, and most of the time for the better, hopefully for the better, and then the time that is afforded to me by this career. Because if I had a 9-to-5 job, man, I'd be swinging from a shower rod. I couldn't do that. I just couldn't do it.
Yeah. So what do you see as like the most valuable piece of buying a house? It's so life-changing for people, but it changes lives in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
I guess if we have a first-time home buyer listening, something like that, what would you tell them why they should buy a house? Maybe that's a better question.
Yeah, and first-time home buyers, they're an anomaly because I think nowadays you get a lot of people like, I would rent because then, it's easy to get out of. You don't have to take care of maintenance and blah, blah, blah. But I've always looked at my house, in any house, as a bank. I'm not going to go live in a bank, but I might as well use my house as a bank because I'm building on top of that asset that I can recoup or pull from later on in life. And it's funny because, the big argument with people who like to rent is I don't have to take care of anything. And think about how much cost you have involved with your house and blah, blah, blah. There are safeguards against that, like buying a home warranty, doing annual maintenance where stuff doesn't fail. But you can also budget for that stuff. But I always tell people, you're paying someone else's mortgage when you rent. You literally are not putting any dollars in your pocket. If you buy a house for $200 grand and your payments, let's say $1,500, and you're worried about having a $5,000 air conditioner go out, well, guess what? You buy a $5,000 air conditioner with a 5-year warranty, 5-year warranty on it. You don't have to worry about it for another 15, 20 years anyway. That $1,500 mortgage payment is still going into your house, knocking down your principal, and at the same time, you bought the house for $200. In 5 years, it's going to be worth $220, $225. So your house is always this bank, and that's what I try to tell people. You can rent, but wouldn't it be better to have someone rent that house from you and you make that money, or at least you live in it? I personally think it's financially unsound to look at a house other than anything as a bank. Like you really have to, and not as some throwaway asset like a car. I think nowadays you have a lot of people that just are like, I don't want the trouble, I don't want the maintenance, I'm just going to lease and I don't want to worry about it. And at the same time, I get that part of the car deal, leasing, because it's a depreciating asset. House isn't. I think that's the biggest thing that's get lost on first-time home buyers.
Yep. I think one of the Rick and I like to tell people this when we have them is, look, let's say for 5 years you rent. Your rent's at $1,000 a month. You just spent what, $60,000 on rent. Now, let's say you bought a house and your same exact payment. Even if you had expenses and everything, and with appreciation, let's say you break even if you sell your house after 5 years. Guess what? You basically lived in a place for 5 years for free.
For free.
What are we doing here?
That's the best way to look at it. It's like driving a car around for free.
Yep.
Absolutely. Bought my Nissan Maxima. Bought a 2017 Nissan Maxima, and I sold it a year and a half later, and I put on 29,000 miles on it, and CarMax paid me $400 less than what I bought it for.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And I look at that and I go, well, hell, I just drove that car for free.
Right.
Same way to your point. Who cares how much money you dump into it over time? Because if you are still that far ahead of renting, you're so better off.
Then the statistics play it out.
Absolutely.
A homeowner has, I think it's like $500,000 more on average in wealth than a renter. So it does make sense. I think one of the biggest mistakes I've made is I've been in my house 30 something years. Mm-hmm. I should have moved. I think that's one of the keys is you should move every few years. You buy your house, fix it up, get the equity, move to the next one.
Yeah.
And because the people I see who've made the most are the people who move. And then the other one is live in California because they go up a lot faster. But I didn't want to do that.
Hold on. You forgot the one other thing. And also use Josh as your realtor.
Oh, yeah.
Well, he's not in California.
Oh, he'll find a person. He'll find a way.
Oh. My biggest commission check came from a referral.
Did it really?
Yep, out to Arizona on a commercial deal.
Wow.
So that's the other good thing about RE/MAX for me is I can get on a RE/MAX referral line, and they basically scrub agents for you and find your fit. And biggest commission check to date, called the guy, talked for 15 minutes, called my client, told her she should talk to this guy, and within 15 days we were under a $6.5 million contract.
Wow.
Through a referral.
Oh, darn you.
Jeez. That hurt. Yeah, it was awesome. So I think, being in sales, that's coming from insurance too. I did large catastrophic insurance for contractors, but our business was referral and renewal. How do you refer out business and how do you repeat renewal? And I think renewals are just people keep coming back to you, and then referral is I'm going to move to Florida and keep sending my business back through Indiana.
Yeah.
That's what I'd love to do. So
yeah, that's awesome. So what is the best way to get a hold of you if anybody has any real estate needs or maybe looking to come on a team?
Yep. Josh.Latham@IndyHomePros.com is one, but again, 989-7465, area code 317. Or you can Google me at Josh Latham Realtor.
Or to get a hold of Ian or I, go to hardworkingmortgageguys.com. That's hardworkingmortgageguys.com, or you can call 317-672-1938. That's 317-672-1938. And follow us for more Indy's Real Estate Gurus.
Josh, hey, thanks for coming on the show.
Absolutely.
It's been a pleasure. And I think Rick wants you back because we'll have to talk about cars for a whole show.
Car show.
Cars, no basketball.
Yeah, he's a basketball. Yeah, he's a sports fan.
I'll do cars all day. I really appreciate your time and really interested in what you guys do here. And my goodness, it was a pleasure.
Thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Yep. Hey, and reminder, if you have any friends, family, or coworkers looking to buy, sell, refinance, contact us. We'll be more than happy to help you.
Branch NMLS number 33041. Rick Ripma's NMLS number 664589. Ian Arnold's NMLS number is 1995469. Equal housing opportunity. Some restrictions apply.